Right, folks, over Christmas I was cleaning out my tackle box and I found a tub of these little beauties that have been in there since Sean and I went filming for Colmic at Decoy about probably 4 years ago. But I use them near enough every time I go fishing because they're perfect for just trimming pole floats down. So, being as we've got Sean in the shop today and Alan, I wanted to just talk about them. So, folks, what are your thoughts on these little beauties?
I like these because, as opposed to some of the ones what are on the market, these, because they come from Italy, and I don't know if it's because they come from Italy, Sean might be able to enlighten me on this, is they seem a little bit denser and a bit smaller size compared with some of the other makes on the market. Yeah. Now, I don't know if it's just a coincidence or what, but these, size for size-wise, feel more dense and smaller comparisons. Is that because they come from Italy and there's more lead in them?
I don't know. It's what I do know is
it just something that
I'm going to say they're a little bit more picky when it comes to quality control on some things. If it doesn't do, it just doesn't.
Well, that's probably borne out by the fact that I'm sorry to mention a competitor, but Balabini shot, that's all I use, Italian, and it makes sense, wouldn't it? Maybe the Italian market is more discerning about what they'll accept.
It's an older market to break onto and do well in. They have a lot of companies that do this sort of thing, so to do well, you've got to excel.
Now you look at that, that's a size 10. Stops, these are stops basically, what we're talking about at the moment, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah.
But that is a 10 in the Colmic stop.
Yeah.
And they are all a lovely universal size.
Yeah.
A really nice wide deep cut in them if you're going to put them onto thickish lines.
They just stay on the line well as well, don't they?
Shots on every line, that's the original idea of them.
Now I do use on a lot of my pole rigs Balabini shot because I use finer lines than stocks, i.e. because I do more silver fishing.
Same as me.
So basically, if you do silver fishing, you're better off with Balabini shots as you like your bulks and your droppers and things like that because they're more centralised, they've got a nice split in them, but they grab hold of like 010, 012, 014 main lines. Very good.
Yeah.
But if you go either silver fishing or commercial fishing and you're using thicker line, i.e. 018, 020, 022 main lines, I think you're better off with the stocks. But when it comes then back to silverfish fishing, I love these in 012, in the number 12s and number 13s for just trimming the float because they're so easy to grab hold of. As a Balabini is quite hard. Yeah. When you're making your rigs up at home, that's fine. But when you're on the bank and you just want 2 or 3 trimmers on your line so you can take them on and off easy, and the move up and down on the line probably a little bit too easy, I still do use these kind of things for my trimming. Is that something like
100% the same as me? Yeah. So I use, I do use actually the Preston stocks in for things like margin fishing when you want just to bulk when it's big carp. But I use these when you want a bit of finesse, when you're putting, like you say, number 13s on to really dot down a fine bristle on a bloodworm float or a Chianti. Because they go on the line so well, they come off so well. They're just a really well engineered product.
Well, my little Uncle Sean's top tip, I like to put one or two of these above me float.
Yeah.
And what you can do is if the conditions change, I learnt this when we were squat fishing and things like that. If you had a bit of a shot above the eye of the float, it used to sit in the water and stop it bouncing about so much. Right. Whereas if you use 2 or 3 of these above your float, if you want to see a bit more bristle, you can slide one up towards your Dacron connector or whatever thing, and then it'll lift your float a bit.
Right.
Or if you think, I'm missing that bite, you can slide one down and or if the wind picks up or whatever. And so it allows, and also changeable conditions. We fish all cropped a lot.
Can you see me? Now you see me, now you don't.
You can't. And sometimes if you just lift that, if you just take that shot away, it does. But I do like them for empty fishing on the river as well.
Yeah. But these do come in nice little individual tubs like this. So they go from 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, and I think it's 13s. In these, like what I call single refillable tubs. Yeah. Or you can,
if you like to put all the eggs in one basket,
you've got yourself a little dispenser.
Little dispenser that goes from 13s up to 9s. And why don't they do it in 8s? People ask. Well, a number 8 shot to us is it's sort of like a pivot point shot, isn't it?
crossing
Because of
over.
look, whereas abroad, a number 8's just a shot.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's the biggest of the shot we can use. So
Yeah.
that's why you don't get number 8s in the dispenser, because you just get the size from 9 downwards. That's all.
Yeah.
So that's,
Well, for trimmers, that's all you need, isn't it?
but for
So-
trimming up, that's all you need. I mean, if
Yeah.
you don't use one of the sizes, who you put your 8s in there? I don't know.
Yeah. But for trimming, the 13s and the 12s, I think, because like you can put 2 or 3 13s either under your float. I've seen a few of the videos lately of the top lads, and they seem to have like they've got the main bulk,
Yeah.
then the droppers, but they seem to now have the trimmers. I don't know, you might know this, Tom, more than with Matt, with international fishing, but they seem to have the trimmer shots now 2 or 3 foot above,
Yeah.
just above the bulks. A lot of people have picked up on it
I
on
saw
videos.
Stevie Gardner doing that years and years
Yeah.
ago.
Well, I've seen Alan doing that. Alan has his way above his bulk, but Matt has him at the top of his bulk.
Yeah.
Matt will have him right at the top, right neat.
So it's just
I just put them wherever I fancy. I'd mix it up a
Maybe
bit.
they just have where the bulk and the droppers make them, it just keeps it tidy, just keeps it out of the way.
right, because I like to have them just underneath my float so I can keep taking one off that
Yeah,
way.
well, no
Then
wrong with that, is there?
obviously you can use them then as your depth markers as well as trimmers as
Yeah.
well. But if you do use balabini shot and things like that, this is for more when you're on the bank. Have a go with these just for trimming your floats up in the smaller sizes, i.e. 12s,
And
13s.
this is the ultimate trimming set.
Yes, that's your Christmas trimming set.
You could trim a pipe bung with some of them bigger ones, couldn't you? So,
But if you do use, as I say, on a serious note, if you do like to make sure your floats are dotted down and that, but it is a bit harder to put balabinis on the bank if you haven't got your scissors and everything, your pliers and that with you. Give these a go because they make
Yeah.
it so much easier
I love them, and they last you ages.
and you do get a good dollop.
Oh, yeah.
in a tub.
Yes.